Peace. What's up, Gotham Nation? Good morning. Now, yesterday morning, Gotham Oakland broke the story that our city administrator, who I have long referred to as Court Jester Johnson, was forced to resign. Hired by the disgraced Tile, who now faces serious federal charges in a trial set to begin this fall, Johnson was brought in from a small town outside of Atlanta, Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia itself, and he had extremely limited big city experience. And it was often said, and by often said, I mean often by me here in Gotham, Oakland, that Tile hired him because he would do her bidding. And his actions have proven my theory correct. Now, Johnson hired Harold Duffy the dummy. He also signed off on the Yankee Coliseum deal, and he presided over the most embarrassing 3-year run in Oakland's history, leaving the city on the brink of financial insolvency. Now, usually, a new mayor brings in a new city administrator, but Mayor Blah Blah Lee kept Johnson around long after Tile crashed out. Lee also brought back Tile's mentor, Rebecca Kaplan, and has now replaced Johnson with political dinosaur Betsy Lake. But more on that later. Then, beloved city administrator LaTonda Simmons was fired. And I know that Jestin betrayed her, and I also know that Duffy helped. And that's why, among other things, very corrupt things, Jestin kept Duffy on payroll for months after his position was technically eliminated. So when the news broke that Johnson was being forced out over degrading and unprofessional communication, quote unquote, those texts show that Justin Johnson and Harold Duffy going back and forth about women at work. And yes, these texts were inappropriate and insanely stupid to be texting on a city-owned device. But despite that, I smelled something funny. And sure enough, as usual, I was correct. So, here's what you probably won't hear from most local media outlets, unless you're watching Gotham Oakland. This information that was shown yesterday was known for quite some time. And as we'll show today on Gotham Oakland, the public records request was submitted last July. And then they sat on the shelf for nearly a year, the city being late to respond as usual. And then suddenly, on May 12th, the material just gets posted, just in time for the city's preferred public relations outlet, the Oakland side, to discover the spicy text messages. And then, magically, Blah Blah Lee's office claimed they conducted their own investigation and uncovered all of these texts on their own. And then minutes after Lee posted on Instagram about it, the Oakland side ran a story featuring many of the same facts and framing. But, I got my call first from my sources, and I beat Oakland side and Barbara Lee to the story. Of course, they'll never admit that. I posted at 10:58, Barbara Lee posted at 11:01, Oakland side posted at 11:07. Now, the records requests themselves were filed last July by an anonymous requester. So how exactly did everyone arrive at the same conclusion at the same moment with such perfectly coordinated outrage? And why is the Oakland side always involved? See, that's where Kompromat comes in. Kompromat, short for compromising material, refers to information collected on public figures for the purpose of blackmail, manipulation, or political destruction. You see, just like with Tile and Eric Swalwell, Justin Johnson served his purpose until he no longer did, and then he had to go. And you'll have to watch this episode all the way to the end to hear my theory on why I think this happened and why the timing matters so much. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. So please like, comment, and subscribe to Gotham Oakland. And let's dive in. I've got a great presentation for you today. Again, we're talking about Kompromat. If you're not familiar, get familiar. Politics is a dirty, dirty, dirty game. What can I say? So again, Kompromat is a Russian word short for, or variously translated as compromising material or discrediting material. We're going to go over this whole story from this little presentation I have for you guys. So first, let's take a little montage. Look at Justin Johnson. Look at Justin in the upper left-hand corner. He is so happy to have his job, looking at his boss, Shing Tao, so admiringly. Now look in the lower right-hand corner, look at his eyes. It's like, oh my God, I got to deal with blah, blah, Lee. And look at those two, serving the public. Remember when I told you that Barbara Lee was Shing Tao 2.0? Remember when I told you that Barbara Lee was Shing Tao 2.0? Anyway, let's get on to the good stuff I know everybody wants to see. So remember on May 11th, not too long ago, what are we, the 17th? Less than a week ago, I tweeted and posted on Facebook, Barbara Lee promised competence. Why keep Justin Johnson? Why would Mayor Barbara Lee keep the unqualified city administrator Justin Johnson, who Tyler hired to do her bidding? Boom, I got it all laid out. And then less than a week later, breaking news, city administrator Justin Johnson has resigned. First reported by Gotham Oakland, 10:58 a.m. Barbara Lee posted at 11:01 a.m., I have met and accepted the resignation of City Administrator Justin Johnson. On Friday evening, I learned about certain degrading and unprofessional communication involving Mr. Johnson. We promptly conducted our own investigation and verified these communications, which are wholly incompatible with the values of this administration and those of the people of Oakland. Under my watch, I will not tolerate transgressions of this nature. I've appointed Assistant City Administrator Elizabeth Betsy Lake to serve as Acting City Administrator, and the City Council has been informed. Barbara Lee flexing on them, getting rid of Court Jester Johnson. All right, I broke the story. I talked about that earlier. Here is the evidence. As you see, Oakland side posted at 11:06, but Gotham Oakland posted at 10:58. I'm not being petty. I'm just saying they got to cite me. Y'all wouldn't have the nerve to say that Oakland side broke this story on X, talking about exclusive scoop. No, we broke that story. Now, this public records request, like I was saying before, was filed, if you see it circled up here in the upper left-hand corner, filed on June 23rd, 2025, and it was due July 3rd, 2025. It was not filled into May. We'll get to that in just a minute. Here is the request itself. Please provide copies of all text messages between Justin Johnson and the following individuals beginning November 1st, 2022. To reduce the burden of compliance with this request, please provide response to the most important message data. Let me move this. Records by searching the most important message from Justin Johnson's iPhone, presumably when it was collected to respond to the grand jury subpoena. Remember those grand jury subpoenas for Shing Tao's trial. The end date of this request is therefore the date upon which the data was extracted from that iPhone. Please provide both the text messages sent between Justin Johnson and each individual, as well as group chats where Justin Johnson and any individual were members. Shing Tao, Leigh Hansen, Andre Jones, Brandon Harami, Brooklyn Williams, Zach Unger. It's all types of people here. Betsy Lake, Harold Duffy, Atanda Simmons, Isaac Abid, Carol Fife. Now, we're only going through, there's a lot of things here in this file. And I put the link in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube or X. Just check the first comment, and I will link the file to all of these. So this was filed, remember, on a year ago, a little less than a year ago. Now, it's uploaded, if you look at this little slide here, on May 12th, 2026. A little less than a week ago. So remember, it was due July 3rd, 2025, but it wasn't uploaded until recently. So why now? Why now? Why are they uploading this now? Because they knew about it. I'm pretty sure they knew about it. Kompromat. Now remember, Kompromat. Now remember, to keep Kompromat on enemies is a pleasure, but to keep Kompromat on friends is a must. A lovely, lovely quote. Politics is a dirty game. Step in this arena, you better be prepared. Now let's look at those texts themselves. This is a fun one. Now, Harold Duffy was talking about Holly. If you don't know who Holly is, Holly was actually a Playboy model, and now she works for the city of Oakland. I heard she's a pretty competent employee. I'm just pointing out that she looks good. She still looks good. Holly, if you're hearing this, we all know you look good. But I would not be texting this on a city phone. This is stupid, degrading, disgraceful. They deserve to be fired. Holly Tough got the old player mesmerized. Here goes Jestin Johnson. I'm telling you, you have to sit next to her. I have to force myself to only look in her eyes. Then Jestin Johnson says again, she had me a little giddy yesterday when we had to take pics with the new chief. Next slide. Harold Duffy says, in the case of Holly, I am not Batman, more Superman, because she is kryptonite I get all week. John, had to throw that in there. She is such a nice person, happy and smart. Justin Johnson says, my kryptonite is one of her deputies, Mai Lei Wang. My goodness, she has a hell of a walk. Ooh, you dirty dog, Justin. I heard you. This is the tip of the iceberg. As it relates to you and your womanizing, but that's neither here nor there. Now remember, I talked about G. Harold Duffy and Justin Johnson's connections in an earlier episode of Gotham Oakland. Now, if you want to know what I'm pointing at, this is the larger picture. This is when he applied for his job. Talking about he worked for the city of West Covina, lying. Administrator Johnson, I'm writing to express my interest in the position of Assistant City Administrator for the city of Oakland. And then, of course, he gets the job because these two guys are quite chummy, as you see from these text messages. Now, this is all from the episode, The Duffy Dossier, episode 1, The Man No One Asked For, where I called a lot of things. When you check out the Duffy Dossier series on Gotham Oakland, you see a lot of stuff that people may not want you to see. Now, I also called, in this episode, when Latanda Simmons was fired, and we're about to get into some other leaked text messages in a minute, that she was fired because they thought she was part of the other side politically, whatever side that is, side of truth, justice in the American way, no corruption. And she fired her. You see Court Justice Johnson in the corner delivering the orders. Now let's dive a little into that, because there's a reason for that. February 10th, 2024. Text message between Justin Johnson and Leigh Hansen. The same Leigh Hansen suing the city of Oakland and dragging me and my name in the city of Oakland's lawsuit, because they're always bringing up my name, people who work for me, bringing up my name on city time like that's not a First Amendment violation. We're not talking about that today, but just remember that. Justin Johnson, do you still happen to have a text from National Night Out where Latanda and Seneca were communicating about a recall? Never mind, I got it. Leigh Hansen liked. Never mind, I got it. I bet you did. Here's another one between G. Howard Duffy and Justin Johnson. Do you mind giving him a call? He's the one I believe could be a great asset for us, whoever they're talking about. Both as we start turning the ship. Side note, Latanda may be in his ear. Harold Duffy, of course she is, but he is a very sophisticated brother. He has Q-tips. Other words, that shit and stinking, whatever he's talking about, in Duffy talk. And then Duffy, again, You think a black man, highly educated and very successful, will fall for Latanda's game. She is becoming more emotional and he deals with facts. He would more than likely try to turn her to professionalism. And this is where you can find all of these little goody slides. So, as I promised you, I'm going to tell you why I think this is happening. I'm going to tell you why I think all of this is happening. All right. Now remember, city council people can only talk to and deal with the city administrator's office. They can only work with the other offices for the purpose of inquiry or they're committing a 218 violation, which means the city administrator's office is very important in terms of city council being able to enact the program. Now, the city administrator serves at the pleasure of the mayor, but they still have a lot of power as individuals. So, I believe that the cabal is not happy that City Council President Kevin Jenkins and District City Councilman Ken Houston are actually taking legitimate steps to reform the city, and that they're working and have been working efficiently, sorry about that, with Court Jester Johnson, getting things actually done, and the cabal doesn't like getting things actually done, and so his usefulness was up and he had to go. And that with the Kompromat, they've been known all of these things. Just like they knew about Xing Tao, and all of a sudden nobody wants to talk about her. They got rid of him. Had nothing to do with these text messages. They've known about these for a long time. They got rid of him because that's the first step. Watch closely. In a war, as the cabal tried to take back control of city council. Because, again, Kevin Jenkins and Ken Houston are currently using their moxie, whatever you call it, if you have, to get things done. And I've been happy with the trajectory of the city for a lot of things that have been done, but the cabal is not happy because the cabal does not want to see Oakland get better. And so I think they got rid of Justin Johnson because Betsy Lake is a puppet. She's not very intelligent. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's a dinosaur. Why are you bringing back these people, Barbara Lee, who had a hand? This is not new blood. Bringing back Rebecca Kaplan, it's not new blood. Elevating Betsy Lake, it's not new blood. Why don't you bring back Latanda Simmons? Oh, got rid of her because she won't play ball with the cabal either. So anyway, that's my theory. It had nothing to do with these text messages and any of that. They didn't care about that. Not for real. If they cared about that, they would have responded to that public records request a year ago when it was due, or 11 months ago when it was due. And they would have found those things out then. Or they already knew this stuff because it was part of all of it, the records requests that the FBI got as part of Xing's trial. So anyway, Kompromat. This is how they get down. Cabal shit. Oakland, run by a bunch of thugs and gangsters taking our money, but y'all know that if you watch Gotham Oakland. Peace, y'all. Love you. Till next time. See you soon. We'll be here next episode about the West Oakland Senior Center. Why is it still not open? We're going to talk about all about it. Peace, peace.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.